Good morning to you, our audience. Ted and Ed TV channel welcome each of you to our weekly Saturday broadcast where we give insightful views on economic, political, world, and environmental issues concerning how money connects those matters. Our hosts, Mr. Ted Harvey Sr. and Mr. Edward Bishop III, are now taking each of you into our world of money and its value, along with the evils that come from the greed of hoarding financial power. He that controls the gold controls the important decisions in this world.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ted and Ed TV show, The Money Connection. And I'll tell you, we have a great show today. I'll tell you, and we're going to be talking about so many different things and just a few topics that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the Poor People's Campaign. We're going to be talking about our president and his personal lawyer. And what's up with the media and a number of other things. Ed, how you doing this morning?
Oh, Ted, I am a little tired and weary and everything because I've been down at the university trying to take care of one of our grandchildren, and he was being honored because this is his third year on honor roll. So we are very proud of him and his accomplishments and stuff. But we still got one more year to get him through, get him down that aisle.
All right.
So we're looking forward to that and everything. And we want our audience to know that, man, you have to work very hard and stuff to get your children and everything and your grandchildren like we have off into college and stuff, because if you don't have a college education nowadays, you are in big, big, big trouble. So everybody out there should make it their effort, their profound effort to get their children and stuff off to school and do some great and stuff with them. But getting back to our news that's going on, man, I woke up last night. I went to sleep early, woke up last night and saw a little snippets of 45 on television and stuff talking about he has attacked Syria. And I said, oh my God, this imbecile is going to take us into a war. But as the night progressed and everything, we found out that it was only a strike and coordinated strike with the United Kingdom and France and everything. And I guess Russia and Syria was doing a little counterattacking and stuff, but it didn't turn into what I thought it was going to turn into, and that is war. And at this time, we really don't need that and stuff going on because we have so much other stuff that's happening out there. So I'm pretty sure that we need to try to exhaust some of those diplomatic efforts and stuff to keep us out of war, because war is not, it kills our people. Even though we got 2,000 of our troops, I guess, over there in Syria, and they're still there. I don't know. We need to be very, very cautious and stuff now.
Yeah, because in Syria, if you look at what's going on here, there's a tag team, in my opinion. You got Syria, you got Iran, and you got Russia. And, they are heavily invested in Syria. So, but, last week I had made a statement, like it was like wagging the dog. And this right here is really wagging the dog, because what are they going to talk about in the media all weekend? They're going to be talking about the strike. And yes, the military people did do a strategic thing. But the point is that the media now is dominated about this strike and not talking about other things that are very, very important. So, but the thing is that 45 already had basically told everybody, say, hey, I'm going to strike you. So, in other words, Russia and Syria and Iran, y'all better get out the way because we coming at you. So they was able to get all their military people as much as they can and get everything out there. So if they had any kind of weaponry that was going to be damaged or whatever, or any people that was involved, they was out of there. So what he did was he just made sort of like a gesture. That was a gesture saying that because I said I was going to bomb you because you used those chemicals. And we know that United Kingdom and all these other France and places like that, that, I totally agree that chemical warfare, you do not want to start, you don't want to do that, because that can just wipe out so many innocent people that is not even involved in this, people living their everyday life. They showed pictures of that when it had happened, and it's a horrible sight, man. It's a horrible sight. And it's some mean people, man, out there. It's some people that are very, very evil. So I don't know what's going on. And this relationship with 45 and Putin, I'm just wondering where is that going to lead to? And maybe they made an agreement that that's what he can do. Putin probably told him, say, okay, well, you can strike, but make sure, you don't hit none of my people. So,
well, like I said, when I woke up last night, I thought that we were really going to be off into a real big war there. And from listening to what 45 had to say, and then later on and stuff, Secretary of Defense Jim Mathis, he says something else. According to Trump, this is a long-term thing, but according to Mathis, this was only a one-time strike and stuff against Syria to let them know that we are serious about them stopping the chemical warfare. So I don't see a coordinated effort and stuff and everything with how 45 and his people below him and how they are seeing what's going on. And I don't believe that he is very clear in his efforts and everything to deal with what's going on out there. And because of that, those enemies, Iran and Russia and Syria and stuff, are going to try to exploit that. And I'm pretty sure they are. I know I would, knowing that there's a difference between what your top echelon is saying and then what the bottom folks are saying, and the people who are actually enacting those strikes and stuff, and what's going on with them and their mindset as to what's happening. So I don't believe that he is really actually a war chief and everything, somebody that can be able to deal with stuff like that and everything. And I think that his people and stuff below him understand that he is the commander in chief, but he is a waffler and everything. You can't believe everything he says. So because of that, I have serious doubts that people are going to take him serious, especially Russia and Iran. And as far as he's concerned with, because his policies and stuff, his foreign policies and stuff are not very, very concise, strong, and all of them are not speaking in the same voice.
I agree, so, and when you get this Iran treaty that's going on, he's been threatening to tear it up and everything, and Iran, and from my understanding, that they pretty much agree with the agreement, and they're concerned about that, and then of course the Russian thing and Assad, the guy that's over in the dictator
Syria. Yeah.
in Syria. I don't know. This guy's a strange animal, man. I don't know exactly what's going on, because we don't really get to see him in the international media or even national media, and we don't know a whole lot about him as far as his thinking or what's going on, But I know that Russia and Iran has invested a lot of money into that country. So, we'll see.
I think they're Russia and Iran are probably using Assad for their own purposes and everything to kind of keep Trump and the United States and Great Britain and France and the United Nations at bay, because as long as they are concentrating on Syria and stuff there, Iran can turn around and do what they want to do, and Russia can also turn around and do what they want to do, move their troops around or do their political stuff and use just like on a chessboard. I guess Syria is probably the pawn and stuff in the chess game. They push that pawn around and they don't care about losing him at all. So he probably needs to kind of wonder what's going on, but I don't believe he wants to wonder. I think he just wants to stay in power as long as he can and take as much money out of their country as can, like most of those dictators and stuff do. Once their time is up, they've already stripped the country bare, no money left in the country, and they just leave and run off somewhere. So we'll see, like you said, but I do believe that 45 is, I don't know. I think we kind of screwed up and stuff with him down there in power and stuff, because I don't really trust him at all. And I don't believe the people below him trust him at all either. You can see it. There is.
Well, let me tell you something. I know somebody who trusts him.
And who is that?
Michael Cohen.
Well, he doesn't even have a choice.
This man said he would take a bullet for him. He would jump off. He'll jump off a 100-story building. I mean,
he doesn't have a choice, Ted. The FBI and all the other folks have backed him into a corner, and he can't. Trump is his lifeline. He's out there in the ocean getting ready to drown, and Trump throwed him a little lifeline out there, and he's holding on to it and hoping that Trump would keep that lifeline going and stuff for him, because he is actually in big trouble. And like I said, he has to say that, and Trump has to keep him online there, but he has to believe that when it comes down to Trump or his children and stuff, old Michael, he got to go down. He got to fall on that sword.
Man, I mean, loyalty is one thing, but I guess he's probably done these things so often, as far as covering for 45, and usually, he gets away with it. But now this is big time. Now what he's, it's wide open. Everybody knows about it. You're not just doing stuff in New York. This is national, international. So we'll see what's going to happen with Cohen, because I heard some news commentators talking about, I feel sorry for him.
Who said that?
A couple of people say I feel sorry for him, and then a couple, the host said I don't feel sorry for him because he put himself in that position.
Himself in there, and then Ted, he not only put himself into there with Trump, he got his own problems out there, his own personal problems with this taxi cab and medallion thing that's going on. They really going to be beating him down because of that, and that has nothing to do with even what went on with Trump and what he did for him. He has his own personal stuff out there that he has to deal with and everything. So,
well, they say he has so many thousands of cabs that he deals with, and they said they were worth over $1 million a piece, and now they're only worth a couple of $100,000.
Right.
So he wasn't hurting for no money. So he should have sort of kind of severed ties with him.
But but he did some really that wasn't legal and stuff out there when he created this stuff. And I'm pretty sure he has a lot more stuff out there that these folks and stuff know about. The U.S. Attorney's Office and stuff there. They don't knock your door down, Ted, and break into all your stuff and everything unless you done something real wrong.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, how did the government, or I should say, all the different alphabet suits, let this guy get away with this stuff all this time, and he had to do his taxes, and they knew what he was doing, and if he got foreign money, and the IRS is there. So what is going on, man? How you let these people do these things for all these years, and then now all of a sudden, now that he's been exposed, now they want to take him down. They should have took this man down when he first got started.
They couldn't.
Well, you want to explain that, Mr. Bishop?
They couldn't, Ted. You must not. You're not realizing what's going on out there in this country.
I know what's going on, but I want you to explain it to me.
The crooks have taken over. There are so many crooks and thieves out there that they are overwhelming our system. And then when you turn around and you have a Republican Congress and stuff now Well, we already had a Republican Congress for a long time, and they've been trying to enact these, deregulate these folks and stuff out there and cut back on the IRS and cut back on all these governmental agencies and stuff and everything. And when you start cutting back and you got so many crooks out there, they really can't do anything at all unless they just happen to be the one that is doing the biggest crimes. And actually, Michael Cohen wasn't the biggest crook out there until he got involved with Trump, when Trump actually came to be president and everything. And Mueller got out there and said, hey, Trump has done so much bad stuff and everything that he has to use other people and stuff to bring him down because he became the president. When he became the president, he became a big target on his back. And so when he did that, Michael Cohen and stuff, because he was his co-crook, he became a target and stuff then. So, but Ted, there are a lot of them out there who are doing bad, who are doing wrong. You got your corporations out there who are ripping off the government. You got all these other folks out there, and you just can't keep up because you don't have the policing ability to do it. So that's how Cohen slides between the cracks. But now that crack is closed, and he became into the spotlight, especially since this thing with Stormy Daniels came about, and Michael, her attorney and everything, brought this thing all to light, and it brought everything all up, and it really put that spotlight on Michael Cohen because of that. And I think that, and then as he went along, he kept digging himself a hole. He kept digging that hole. So as he was doing that and everything, he got into the spotlight. And so once they started looking at him and everything, man, they looked around there, and he got a lot of skeletons in his closet. So they're going to try to use him to bring Trump down. Okay. But as you notice that Trump is, according to what's going on out the news media, because he reached back and pardoned Scooter Libby. And why he did that, I don't know. I don't know how that has to do with, according to our news media out there, that he did this and stuff to let these folks.
That is a signal.
Well,
that's all that was, is a signal saying, look, I can do this. He said, because I'm going to get this guy. And then that's just to let them know, the other people, like, what is it? Colonel or General, what's his name? Flynn. And
Michael Flynn, yeah.
Michael Flynn and all the others, letting them know. Yeah, all of them, letting them know.
But Ted, most of them, yes, he can do that and stuff with them. But once you let your enemy, who is those people are Trump's enemies and stuff, know what you're planning on doing, then, Mueller and all the rest of them, they're going to put a heck of a lot more pressure on them, because Trump cannot pardon IRS crimes. Well, you can't pardon them. You can't pardon them IRS crimes. And most of them are, if you notice and stuff, most of them and stuff, in the bottom part of their criminal thing and stuff, the IRS is getting involved. The IRS was the only one that brought down Al Capone. He killed a whole lot of people and stuff, but the only thing that can get him was the IRS. He can pay his taxes. You don't pay your taxes, they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you.
But it takes me
Trump can't pardon that.
Yeah, so I know.
He doesn't know. Yeah, he doesn't. He's playing a dangerous game out there and stuff with these folks and everything. But I guess that's the only game that he knows how to play. So
yeah. Well, it takes me to the old thing as far as what's going on with America or the Americans in this country. That it almost seems like they just don't care. Because when you look at the so-called evangelicals, no matter what Trump does or has done, they don't care, because their main thing is two key issues. The Justice Department, they want their judges, and they want to eliminate women's rights as far as having, being able to have abortions if they choose to have one. So those are the two things. And then, of course, they want a strong military. So evangelicals have set up here and allowed those people that voted for him, thinking that, he was the lesser of two evils versus Miss Hillary. This man has sit up here and just flat out lied. It's documented, thousands and thousands of, hundreds and hundreds of lies. And he's sit up here and done all kinds of things behind closed doors. And yet and still, they think that he was the better person, and then they don't even condemn him, and they just sort of kind of like, okay, well, it's okay. He's all right. He's the man for us, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're doing wrong, you're doing wrong. If you're talking about the Bible, if you lie and you're constantly lying, you're wrong. And if you're stealing from people, you're wrong. But there's no condemnation from this guy. Nobody's out there speaking, because I hear all of these ministers out there, they just praising him like all get out. They think this tax thing is the right thing to do. And we know that's a scam. It's for the rich. So tell me, what is going on with these people that still support him? I can understand like maybe 10 million people, like they call them undeplorables or whatever, deplorables. But when you're talking about 30, 40, 50 million people in this country that consistently support him and think he's the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, man, if President Obama had done any of these things or been accused of any of these things, they would already have this man up for impeachment already. And this man has done so many things. The justice and inequality is just horrible. I'm just trying to figure out what is going on, man. Can you tell me what is going on with this country?
Well, I'm going to reach back to it a couple of decades back in the late 1900s, when the alt-right started coming into power. And when they came into power and stuff, and they started getting into politics and everything with all these conservative pastors and everything, there was a slew of them folks out there. Some of them, have died, but they started out with that moral compass and everything. We want to be able to
Jerry Falwell.
Falwell, all of them. There's a lot more with them along, and they were just coming into power, and they were taking over the Republican Party, and they've now completely controlled the Republican Party. Even when Bush came into power and stuff through campaigning through the South and everything, and getting these preachers and stuff behind him. And once he got those preachers behind him, because I remember he went up into a lot of those churches and stuff and everything, and he sat down there and asked them to forgive him for all of his sins and all of that. And man, they were just, he is nothing better than pudding. The same thing as Trump is now, because he's a Republican, and that's how they deal with it. So they have sold away all of their good intentions and stuff and everything to the devil. They've sold themselves to the devil. They've gotten away from what they started out with, and that was to bring their moral rights and everything to people, to make them look at children and whatever, and we're going to hell because we are not doing what Jesus told us to do. And they preach this and preach this and preach this, and now they've evolved and stuff into dealing with the devil. And I'm pretty sure that by the time they leave this earth and everything, the Lord's gonna judge them on their fallacies and stuff that's going on out there. I guess that power has overridden their good judgment and stuff and believing and stuff what Jesus did and stuff here on this earth. So we have to realize that no matter where you go and stuff and everything, that you have to go back to that spiritual self and everything and believe that no matter what's going on, you have to believe in right. And I believe they lost their compass. So that's where they're at. And that's why they're taking, and Trump's the devil. He is. He's actually, and I couldn't believe that anybody could be worse than Bush was. But I was wrong. And I admitted it. I'm wrong. This man, he ceased to amaze me. I'm telling you, he ceased to amaze me. And I'm holding on like everybody else is, Ted, out there, and hoping that we can keep the country together some kind of way until 2020 when we can get him out, because that's our only chance now, it looks like, to get him out, because I don't believe that 2018 is going to bring about getting him out of office. I really don't.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the thing what I was alluding to as far as America is confused, because here's the thing, you got these Bible Belt people, I'm conservative, I'm liberal, I'm progressive, I'm right wing, I'm left wing. You got all of these, or I'm moderate. You got all of these different labels of people, if you think one way, then you're a left winger. If you think another way, you're a right winger. And, to me, everyone has their own opinion about certain issues, and a lot of times, if the main thing, what I get out of it is that, to me, America is supposed to be a free country. That means that you should be able to do, if you're an adult, you should be able to do what you want to do. And that's just the bottom line. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about in every area of your life, you should be able to do what you want to do. Don't mean that it's right. Don't get me wrong now, because, your body is supposed to be your temple. So, but if a person wants to use drugs and they're an adult, they should be able to use drugs. They're making it illegal. Now, when a person is driving under influence, whether it's alcohol or narcotics or whatever it is, then that's a different story. But the bottom line is that a person, that's like a person should be able to love whoever they want to love. That's their opinion. That's their life. This is supposed to be a free country. So the point is that they're trying to stop people from being free in this country and limit it. They're trying to legislate morality. You cannot legislate morality, because if you do it, if you legislate morality and you make it illegal, for people to do what they want to do, they're going to do it behind closed doors anyway. So you might as well let them do it in the open. And then if you're supposed to be so religious and so spiritual, then, and if God is with you, then you can, people see your lifestyle and they see how you living. Maybe they want to live like you. You're supposed to be an example. You're supposed to be the light. You're not supposed to be legislating laws to say, okay, you can't marry this person, you can't do this, you can't use this, you can't do this, you can't do that. But then, they want to control it. But then when it comes to find out, they're doing the same damn thing. But the only thing they're doing is behind closed doors. You remember that time when President Clinton was messing around and all that kind of stuff, and then what was that guy that did the Hustler magazine? Was it the Hustler magazine or one of those magazines, the Penthouse magazine? I don't know. And he said, if anybody know any of these representatives is messing around, come to find out the doggone Speaker of the House had an outside baby and an affair.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you're going to sit up here and you're going to condemn President Clinton, and here you are, you're doing the same damn thing. So to me, that's worse, that's worse than being a hypocrite, because you're really being, it's just crazy, because you're bringing us along with you. A lot of people trying to make like you some kind of, righteous, so good and all of this, and you want to do the right thing, and you're doing the same damn thing. And the difference between then and now is that everybody knows that Trump is what he is. He's a low down con man, and he's just like they said, they have other women that he's paid. So the point is that how do you sit here and call yourself a Christian and allow the poor people, 60 million poor people, you got 60 million people living in poverty in this country. You didn't sit up here and allow this country to go, destroy really a lot of the world. You got almost 70 million people have been displaced by bombings and wars and all of that stuff. How do the American people allow this when we're supposed to be for right? We're supposed to be for truth. We're supposed to be for justice. That's what I want to know. How do you do that? How you allow over 500,000 people homeless when they spent, it's already been said, $6 trillion over in the Middle East over these wars, all these 15 whatever years it's been? How do you allow that? How do you justify that? And then
they justify by blaming them.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure. How do you
blame the poor? You blame the poor. It's not my fault because they don't have money or they homeless. It's their fault. And their policies and stuff say it. Their policies is coming out.
But I'm just saying, man, don't sit up here and talk like you are, I'm just frustrated, man, with these so-called righteous, thinking they righteous people, and they sit up here and allow over 600,000 children in foster care. You allowed 2.2 million people in prison. And they're taking them in and out just because, and we already know a lot of them is just little misdemeanors or whatever, and people are in jail, and American people act like they don't even care. We're the government. And this is allowing this mess.
Well, and it all comes back to what we first started out with, Ted: money.
Yeah, because they're making
money. You talking about the homeless? They're making money off of them. You're talking about the prisons. You got private entities and stuff making money off of them. All those portions and stuff. They are using that to make money and stuff and put it into their pockets. They are. It's money is the root of, like they said, money a lot of times is the root of all evil. And well, I guess the love of money is the root of all evil, as Pastor Tim would say.
Yeah.
The love of money is the root.
Yeah. I was communicating with an old friend of mine on Facebook. It wasn't much of a communication. It was just that I had made a statement on Facebook, talking about, the homeless. And, I'm going to tell you, man, when I was single, and I'll just tell a little personal thing. When I was single, I had just left this apartment on the south side of Chicago. And this is over like almost 50 years ago. And I had just left this little apartment. I mean, it was a dump on the south side of Chicago back in there. And man, the way I paid rent was I had to shovel the coal, get up at 4:00 in the morning and shovel the coal and keep the furnace hot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every morning I get up in the morning before I went off to work, because I had to be at work at 6:00. And so I'm sitting up there and if I'm 5 minutes late, the lady's husband that owned the building was down there shoveling the coal, like I wasn't doing my job. So I say, why are you here? He said, well, you 5 minutes late. You gotta get this done. I say, it's gonna get done, and blah blah blah. And so anyway, I didn't know. I said, I got to get out of here because I'm gonna hurt this old man, because I'm shoveling, I'm shoveling coal, and then I go to work. I had to be at work at 6 o'clock, and so I packed up all my clothes. I ain't had nothing but a big old garbage bag full of clothes and one suitcase. I got on the bus, man. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I mean, this is like the first time I ever felt like I was homeless.
Homeless, huh? Okay.
But what I'm saying is, I could have went back home, I could have lived with, my uncles or my aunties or something like that. But I went to I got on the bus and I went to the YMCA on the north side of Chicago. And I went over there with my little stuff, and the guy told me, he said, well, I said, I need a room. And he said, well, it's $70 a week. Now that was a lot of money back then. $70 a week
for a room.
For a room. And that's for a week. And back then $70, that was a whole lot of money. And I said, okay, I'll take it. So I gave him, he said, you got to have the first and last. And so I gave him $140 and some change or whatever it was. And I got my room. I don't even want to tell you my experience, but the point is that it was devastating because, see, I was so upset with my landlord harassing me about me being 5 or 10 minutes late to put that coal in there. And then the regular apartment I had was so disgusting. I say, man, I ain't got to put up with this. So I can't even imagine out there day to day, homeless children out there have to get ready to go to school. They're cleaning themselves in bathrooms, and then they got to put on their clothes, and then they go to school. And then they won't even eat until they get that little whatever they give them. I mean, I used to teach as a substitute teacher, and man, that's garbage that they feeding them kids, a lot of it. It ain't even healthy. So
that's all they got, Ted.
And that's all they got. And this is ridiculous. And the American people, I mean, there's a lot of good people out there. Don't get me wrong, and a lot of people are doing some good. But getting back to my story with this incident with my old friend, and her name is Corley Williams. She's a pastor now. Her and her husband's a pastor in Texas. And she said, well, Ted, you just got to do your little part. Well, my little part is not going to make no dent. Even if I say I go to the homeless, they got a thing here in Tampa where you can go to, they call it the Metropolitan Ministries. And you can go there. And I used to volunteer 25 years ago. I volunteered, there. I made my little dent, helping the people and blah, 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 give them clothes and stuff. And I'd be sitting in his office and I'd talk to him and blah, blah, blah. And the point is, a little dent. That's what the problem is, man. We're making little dents. Little dents. You got 500,000 people that are homeless. And out of that, do you realize in LA, they got over 40% of the people that are homeless, that, percentage wise, are Black people? Most Absolutely. Of these people that are homeless, most of these people are in foster care, most of these people are in prison. These are Black people. And we sitting up here letting them go to waste. Because I'm gonna do my little part. I go to the prison, I pray for them, and I'll do this, and it's devastating, man. It's a catastrophic thing that's going on, and it's crazy. They don't care about white poor people. They don't care about Black people. Period. Long as you still working and you get a job, you pay your taxes, and blah blah blah, and you're a decent citizen, and you behave yourself, then you'll be okay, maybe. So
it sounds very disgusting, Ted,
It is disgusting.
and I think that Pastor Coralie and stuff was trying to give you some encouragement and stuff and everything, because it's almost like you have a platter of food, and to get to where the platter, to where you can eat the food, you have to eat little bits, and eventually you will eat all the food up. And so her analogy and stuff of you do your little bit, and if everybody do their little bit and they dip over into that plate, eventually that problem will be gone. But we find out that that a lot of people and stuff and everything get discouraged and stuff with that problem, and they hide it from us, or we go into a cubby hole, or we go into our neighborhood, into our homes, and long as we've got enough food and stuff in our bellies, and our children and stuff have enough food coming in, or they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're not homeless, we don't look at those problems and everything. We start looking at our own things that's going on, and we forget about those who are out there in the street and who are homeless. So I know it's overwhelming and stuff sometimes, but I have to believe in Coralie's analogy and stuff. Just eat just whatever you can, and hope that the problem will go away, and that you have an effect upon that one life. And you see a homeless person out there. I know your brother, he goes out a lot of times, and he has his little truck, and he goes out and he feeds the homeless there in Los Angeles and makes sure they eat. And he can't feed everybody, but he is making his little part. He's giving that little part that he can give. And that one day he's doing it, it doesn't feed him for the other 6 days, but at least he's doing his part. And he can feel good within himself that he has done that. And we all have to have that good feeling and stuff. If I see someone out there and they need my help, I'm going to give it to them. And that's all I can do. I can't do anything else. The people who've got all the money and stuff, yes, they have all the money, and they have the money because they don't give, and they don't give back or whatever. But some of them are giving back a little bit, and some of them are not. And it's like when we were growing up and everything, we still had that huge problem of people who were homeless, people who were poor. And we coming into, and this was like in the 60s, 1960s and the 70s and stuff. And we are in 2018, and we still had that same problem. We still, 1968, Martin Luther King had the Poor People's March and the campaigns and stuff. 2018, Reverend Barber and Miss Lisa, Reverend Lisa Theoharis is having a Poor People's March. There are still poor people out there.
And there's more poor people now than there's ever been.
Absolutely. They figure it's almost 120 million people out there who are poor or low income. So the problem hasn't gotten any better, and maybe got a little worse. We don't know. But Dr. King made an effect and stuff back in 1968 and all that. And I guess Reverend Barber trying to make an effect and stuff now in 2018. So
well, Lord knows, I hope so, man, because I'm gonna tell you, I just, it's, and he sees this thing, all the time, and a lot of people in that campaign is actually living it, and they're spearheading it, and I'm hoping that the rest of America wake up. They need to wake up. The inequality and is going on that is just crazy, because you're gonna lock up a person because they're poor. They can't pay their bail money, and they're in jail for 6 months. They done lost their little job, they done lost their apartment or whatever, or if the person is married, and the wife is at home and she working and they got kids. This is ridiculous. The justice system is just not fair to poor people, and it's just not fair.
And that leads you to your next topic: justice and inequality.
Oh, please.
Every time I see that word justice and inequality, I think about Richard Pryor, a comedian. And he put that he was standing up there on stage and said, "There's no justice. There's no justice. It is just us who are getting justice." And he's absolutely right. Even back in the 70s when he was going around and standing on stage and doing his comedy act and everything, that same old thing is right there together. It is just us that's going in there, because if you go to the courthouse and into any one of those courtrooms, all you see is people of color. You see Black, Hispanic, maybe one or two white. That's it.
Yeah. That's
it.
I don't know, that's why you take it back to what they call, quote and unquote conservative or white ring and all of that kind of stuff, and so now they have put it on out there, that, hey, that's what they're all about. Their own self. America is supposed to be for everyone, and it should be equal. And and the thing is, when you look at it, unless you have exceptional talent and skill, ability, or you know how to navigate yourself into the system the way you can make a decent living, you are not going to make it. Because if you don't know how to get along with people to a certain degree, they might hate your guts, but you're a professional. They might, when I say hate, I don't mean that they hate you, but they don't want to have anything to do with you. They just tolerate you. Because I know when I worked in the corporate world, and I worked in the corporate world for 35 years, 40 years, whatever. And, I always presented myself with, at least try to treat people with respect. And then in return, I expect respect in the same thing. I didn't care what color you were. That was just my thing. Hey, if you treat me with respect, I'm gonna treat you with respect. And if I'm doing a job and I'm working for a corporation, I'm gonna do what they say and I'm gonna follow their instructions because I represent your company. So in other words, what I'm saying is that basically a lot of people cannot do that, follow instructions. Certain laws you cannot do. It's against the law. You cannot drive without a driver's license. You cannot be driving around without insurance. You cannot be doing certain things. You got to know your boundaries, certain things. If you don't have a car, don't drive. If you ain't got no driver's license, don't drive. If you walk in the street and you're in the wrong neighborhood, don't go to that neighborhood. So you won't get picked up. Boy, because Ted, the police don't stop you.
Boy, Ted, you sound like my mother and father back when I was growing up, when we were out there. The same thing, history is repeating itself right now in 2018, because kids were getting picked up and getting arrested because they was out there trying to do wrong or whatever. And the same thing is going on now. And I know that we have to look at ourselves and stuff and say, hey, we can't do this. But most of the time you see people out there driving or whatever, and they can justify themselves. I was trying to get to work. So I had to go out there and drive. I had to do this. But we knew that was wrong, and we took a chance, or we didn't have enough money and stuff to buy your tags and stuff to go on your car, and you riding around hoping you can get to work and back, that you can get enough money so you can be able to buy the tags and put on your car. And the police won't get you. Well, those are these little bitty crimes and stuff and everything that leads our folks, or people of color, into that justice system.
That's it.
And we can't get out once we get in there, because if you don't pay your fine, they're going to put out a warrant for your arrest. So, and they're not worried about it, because they're going to eventually get their money and stuff, and a lot more money and stuff, because once they pick you up, you got to go to jail, you got to pay the bond and get out of jail. So it's a vicious circle that is going on. And we as people of color take that, we take that and blame other people and stuff for it. So the first thing that I think that these poor people march and everything and stuff should do is to take responsibility for your actions, but also make people out there who are in control of the policies or whatever take responsibility for their actions and stuff also, because it all starts from kids going to school. You force these mothers to have these children, and you tell them you can't do this, you can't do that, and everything. You got to have these children, and then when the mothers and stuff have the children, you don't take responsibility also with making sure that the mothers or the children and stuff have the resources that they need and the support that they need.
After school care.
Right, absolutely. Just like you as a grandparent and stuff and everything, you know, your children have their children and you are taking responsibility and stuff and everything for them. And that's the same thing that America should be doing and the Congress should be doing. If you're forcing these mothers, these young children and stuff and everything, because most of them are still children, to have their child because you don't want them to have an abortion, then you better start taking care of that child when you bring them on this earth. But they do not take any responsibility and stuff for that. So you have to take responsibility for your actions. And in math and physics or whatever, there's for whatever reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction and everything and stuff to it. So you're forcing them to do it. Now you need to help them take care of it. And you're not taking that responsibility. And we need to make them understand that you did this. You as a alt-right, you as a moral right.
And then they go around and they take the kids and put them in, you know, take the kids from the parents. If the parents make a mistake, just like you said, you know, they trying to go to work and they get in trouble because they didn't have their tags or they didn't have insurance, and now they're in jail, they can't get out. And where do the kids go? Foster care.
Foster care.
And so now you got poor little kids in a strange area with other kids that are probably 5 times as bad. And these other kids understanding they got to learn how to survive in that foster care system. And what happens? They end up turning into the same type of people, not all of them, but some of them, you know, of doing certain things that are not correct. Let me just tell you this quick story. I remember when I was living in Los Angeles. This is like 30 years ago, maybe longer than that. And I was living in Los Angeles in this apartment with me and my family. And that was during my ball days. You know, I used to just play a lot of basketball, you know, go to every, you know, couple of times, 2 times, 3 times a week and play in leagues and play ball. So my neighbor, her son was living with her. And I'm getting ready to walk out the door. He said, "Where you going, man?" I said, "I'm getting ready to go to Rogers Park." And he said, "You mind if I ride with you?" I said, "No, man," because, you know, he was a baller too. So we jumps in the car. And he said, "Oh, man, let me put my stuff in the glove compartment." I said, "Oh, okay, no problem." So we riding down the street and go to Rogers Park, get through playing ball. We're on our way home, and then he get his stuff. He said, "Oh, yeah, my stuff is still here." And he said, "I got me a little coat." Oh, man, you talking about somebody going off. I went off on that dude, man. I did everything but just knock him out. I swear, man. I say, "Man, are you crazy?" I say, "I got 2 little kids. If we get stopped, I'm going to jail with you because you got coke you put in my car. Man, don't you ever get in my car again." You know, I mean, I just went off on that guy. And I was so frustrated and mad. And see, this is the thing that what can happen. How many hundreds, I would dare say thousands of people riding in the car with somebody because they got a little marijuana, they got a couple of ounces of coke, or they are with somebody that stole a check and trying to cash it, and you go to jail too. You understand what I'm saying? And see, these are the little things that they get people on, and they're not criminals. The people that's riding with them are not the criminals. They don't even know that what's going on. But the judges don't know. They don't care.
Absolutely. That's the
They
law.
don't care. You
That's
got
the
all
law.
of these
You
people
with them,
in
if you
jail
in there
for
with them,
nothing.
if you in there with if your partner creates a crime and you right there with him, you get charged just like that guy who did the crime. And that's the way it is. But I guess, Ted, looking at what we're talking about and everything, the young man didn't respect you. I guess he did not respect you and know who you
No, it
were.
wasn't no respect. He
Yeah.
thought I was like him. That's what it was. He thought I was just like some kind of knucklehead that used drugs. That's what it was.
So
It
you
wasn't
did
about
not
respect.
you did not express upon him who you were before he got into that
I
car.
didn't even know the dude. We just played ball together. That wasn't about
Well,
respect.
you have
That
to
was
know the
about
people.
him being a knucklehead.
You have to know the people.
No.
So you're going to have to take responsibility for your action.
Well,
because
I did
you
take
didn't know
responsibility.
that guy.
I did take responsibility. I kicked him out of my car. But the point is that you don't never know. You'll never know, because you can be talking to people and be friends with them and even know them, and you don't know they're using drugs, because using drugs is a secretive thing to most of the time when people, especially back then, because they knew it was against the law. Because you'd be surprised at people that's got coke in their wallets or coke in some kind of narcotics in their presence, and you don't even know it. Or all kinds of things that people are doing. Because people, like we said in the beginning of the show, there are so many hypocrites.
Absolutely. Now you got two other topics here, Ted, that we got to get to, because the time is rolling along, my friend, and we going here. What's going on with Obamacare? I was wondering why you put that into our production.
Hey, you are the expert Obamacare person. Now I know what's going on, but you are the expert. You're the one that's been writing in your blogs about healthcare, about the Affordable Care Act, and right now, the news that I'm reading, the things that I'm hearing, they are definitely trying to put this thing away.
But they're having a difficult time, Ted, really actually taking Obamacare away from a lot of people. Now, you spoke about America and they're being confused and they just don't care. Well, Obamacare has turned into the Affordable Care Act, and Mitch McConnell and his gang and stuff put Obama in front of that thing and said care, because they knew that his name was a lightning rod out there. But our past president and everything is no longer in office and stuff and everything. And people now are not being so angered and stuff by Obamacare anymore. And they realize and stuff nowadays that what he did and everything was very, very positive. And you're having a lot of conservatives and stuff who are going back to their homes and stuff, Ted, and they're realizing that their constituents are upset with them because they supposed to have said repeal and replace. Repeal and replace. And all they want to do is repeal. Well, their constituents and stuff want them to replace it with something that's better, keeping their insurance coverage from going up. There are a lot of people out there who are voters in their districts and stuff and everything want that health care. So the Republicans have been very, very unsuccessful in stuff and everything and repealing the Affordable Care Act. And so now it's sitting there teetering a little bit and everything, and it needs to be reinforced and everything. And a lot of Republicans and stuff are not saying anything about it. They're quiet about it. But Obamacare is still alive and going well. And I believe it will get stronger because you got so many people and stuff out there who want to have quality health care. And they realize that what they have and stuff now is not the best. As a matter of fact, it has changed. They made it a little bit worse. They caused their premiums to start going up now And people have realized that, hey, you know, our premiums are starting to go up. What you going to do about it? And the Republicans aren't doing anything about it. And if you notice that Trump, all of them have left it alone, because now Obamacare has became just like Social Security and Medicare, a third rail. You don't touch their health care, because that is something that all those Americans and stuff have to have, because we're getting sick, you go into the doctor and stuff. And a lot of these healthcare programs that they got out there, they are trying to bring these healthcares in there to where they give the minimum of healthcare. You got insurance, but your deductible is $5,000. So the first time you go in there to the hospital, or you go into the emergency care unit, absolutely. Well, a lot of these people now, Ted, they're making a lot more than that. They're in that $60,000 and $70,000 range. They're not around
at $5,000. If you get sick, you know, that's a lot of money.
And for anyone, even if you're making $100,000 a year, it's a lot of money to be paying out to start out before the insurance kicks in and start paying. But a lot of people and stuff, they got these policies and stuff and didn't realize that they had these high deductibles. And now that they're realizing that, when they go into these healthcare places and stuff and everything, they're saying to their people and stuff, we got to change this stuff. We're going to have to pay for getting healthcare. So we're at a point and stuff now and stuff, Ted, to where I don't believe it's going to get any worse. I believe they're going to start making their politicians and stuff and everything give them a better plan and stuff to deal with. And to get back and everything to this next topic that you're talking about, this Black leadership, I think Black leadership and also Democratic leadership and everything need to start bringing these topics and stuff out there in the front and everything when they're running for office and stuff, to say, we know that this healthcare is bad and stuff, and we're here to make it better. We've always been behind you to make sure that your insurance plan was the best thing. But your Republican, my counterpart here, or my opponent and stuff here, has not. He has not tried to help you. And I believe if they grab on to that policy thing, that they're going to show the Democrats should be able to capture the Congress and stuff and everything in this next election term. But some of these Democrats and stuff aren't very smart when it comes to going out there and politicking. And what happens, I don't know. But the next thing they're just talking about, Black leadership, where are they at?
That's funny, isn't it? It's really it's horrible.
Yeah, it is, because I guess, you know, us being from the 60s, where our leaders and stuff were out front, that I think we are looking for leaders and stuff to be out front, and maybe they are sitting there behind the curtain and everything because they don't want to be out front, because if they out front, then they become targets. I don't know.
There's no question about that. I mean, you got journalists that's Black being targeted now. I mean, just for asking a question, Black journalists, you know, and you know, it's like people want to say things, but they can't say. They can only say so much. You got congressmen that come out and they say something, and then their life is threatened. You know, it's almost like we're in a gangster mentality. You know, you can't say anything or express your opinion, and saying that certain things are not equal or not fair. And, you know, because, you know, as far as they're concerned, you're uneducated, you're lazy, you're this, you're that, you know, you can't spell, you can't do this, you can't do that. This journalist came out and said, I don't know if you know, the one that works for the urban radio, and she's in the White House. She's always talking, and she asked the question.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Do you think," or she asked some kind of question. I'm just paraphrasing. You think the president should be sitting down now because of all of these different incidents and what have you? And then the press person said, you know, that's a stupid question. She didn't even respond to the question. the man should be sitting down somewhere. He's not fit to be president, you know. But she got death threats because she asked that question. And then she responded to some of the people, and she used the word of and she misspelled it or whatever, and that's all they were talking about on the site. And I said to myself, I say, these stupid idiotic people, you know, as though they're supposed to be English experts and what have you. The point is, she made her point. That is the thing. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, don't nobody even understand the English language or get it correctly all the time. And so regardless whether you're a journalist or whether you are an English teacher or whether you're just an everyday person.
April Ryan.
Yeah, April Ryan. And they talk more about that and just dogged her, talking about she ain't even fit to be on radio or TV. How did you get that job? Blah, 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 blah. But forget about the point what she was making. The man is not fit to be the president of the United States. Whether you agree with me or not, that's my opinion. You know, because, I mean, this is lower than low. I pray for him every day.
Yeah. Well,
I pray for him every day. I'm going to let you Christians know that I pray for President Trump every day. Because God is going to deal with him the way God going to deal with him. I ain't judging him. All I know is what I know was right and I know what's wrong. I know what's righteous. Okay? I know what's righteous. So they can sit here and they can try to pretend that he's the right person. No, he's not. No, he's not. Because, you know, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay. Well, people, we are over our time limit already. And we come to the end of our program now.
Yeah.
So
I need another 30 minutes.
I know. Well, I think we're probably gonna have to make our Wednesday telecast almost a permanent thing now, huh? Either Tuesday or Wednesday.
There's too much stuff going on here.
It is. It's a lot, and we have to fill that gap, Ted, because there's a lot of information out there, a lot of news that needs to be, assimilated to our community, and we have to find some kind of way to get it out there so people can understand what's going on. Almost like this Obamacare and stuff. A lot of people probably don't even know what's going on and everything with it. They don't know what's going on with their Medicare or their Medicaid program, and they don't know what's going on with food stamps and SNAPs and all that, and how the government and stuff now are changing the requirements and stuff for people who are getting food stamp. It's something else out there. And they start going back there and they say, hey, they've been getting food stamps before. And then they go back into the SNAP office and they say, well, you can't get it because you're $10 above the maximum limit. So we can't give you food stamps. So your kids are going to have to start at that because they don't have food stamps anymore because they've changed those regulations. They changing the policies and stuff and everything. They added more money to the program, but they changed the policy. They got Section 8 people out there, and you and I talked about this back in December, that they were going to throw all these people and stuff off of Section 8, and they're not going to have any homes or whatever. And I wrote an article and stuff about that. That thing that's going on there with the Section 8 folks in low-income housing there in Southern Illinois. And that problem is still there. That people are, man, it's just devastating and stuff for them, I know. And people are living in squalor. And other than, at least they got a roof over their head. They're not out in the street. Well, they might well be on the street because most of those houses don't have water in it. They don't have toilets and stuff in there. Roaches and rats and stuff have invaded these places and stuff, but they consider that better than being out in the street. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So anyway, we're about done here. We got a lot to be talking about. And like I said, we're going to keep on talking. We're going to keep on putting our Ted and Ed TV channel and stuff out there. And folks and stuff who don't see it live and everything can also go back on our Ted and Ed TV channel on YouTube. And we've got probably 50 or 60 programs and stuff out there sitting there so people can see what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we appreciate anyone that's listening. And, it might be 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, that you might see this program. But the thing is, what I'm going to always say, fast and pray.
Fast and pray.
Fast and pray. Right now, we need to fast and pray because there's a real devil out there.
Well, you're praying for him, Ted, so maybe it'll turn out to be okay.
I'm definitely praying for him,
Well,
and God will be the judge on that. So I ain't dealing with that. I ain't judging the man. I ain't going to judge nobody, but I'm just saying I got my own opinions, and I know I'm an old man, but, we're going to look for the best and look at the positive and look at solutions. That's my thing, and the reason why I keep talking about the homeless, because what I'm going to do, before we go out there, I'm just letting people know, I'm gonna track down a homeless family, and I'm gonna support this homeless family until they get stable living, and I'm gonna support them by myself. I'm gonna do my little part.
Oh man, Ted, that's great, man. I know that someone out there, the Lord is leading you now to do something, and He's going to bless you for doing this. Because if each and every one of us out there does do that, and if we can't support them totally and stuff, just going out there and maybe giving them, buying them a meal or making sure they got some food in their house for one meal is going to be okay. So I'm glad to hear you doing that, and maybe I can figure out some way to do my part too, and get my wife to go out there and do some things and stuff for the homeless that we have in our area, because we have a lot out there, Ted. I drive by, and like I said, this country and stuff, and the cities, local governments and stuff, they're hiding these poor people and stuff. I know in Los Angeles, they're right there within walking distance from downtown Los Angeles, homeless communities with tents and everything all over the place. But here in Atlanta and stuff, most of the time when the tent cities go up and everything, you have the city workers and stuff go out there, and during the daytime they tear these tent cities down. So when the people come back to their homes, their temporary homes, they're not there anymore because they came and tore them down. But they're hiding it because they know that it looks bad and stuff for them, and it looks bad for the city of Atlanta to have homeless people and stuff around. But they are there. Glad to hear what you're doing, man. I wish you well.
Well, we'll see what happens. And like I said, we're going to be fasting and praying on a continuous basis, believing God that He's going to intervene for this country, and, well, not only the country, but for the world, because of what happened just recently, a couple of days ago, and we don't know what's going on, but God is still on the throne. So He sees everything, knows everything, and we're walking by faith. That's the bottom line. That's all I can say about that.
Okay. We'll see you guys next week or Wednesday, whichever comes first. Okay.
All righty.
Bye-bye.